Hey besties, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving headfirst into the chaotic world of r/Neighbors from Hell with a story I just had to share. Get ready to clutch your pearls because this post titled, Living Above Lunatics, Harassment, False Reports, and a Full-Blown Obsession is wild. TLDR, moved into a 100-year-old house divided into 4 units. Everything was fine with the downstairs neighbors until December, when they started filing constant noise complaints even when we were sleeping. They escalated to banging on our ceiling, tampering with our laundry, falsely calling the police on us, and even reporting us to child services with completely fabricated claims. They've planted spy cams, staged harassment claims, and now have even tampered with my fiancé's e-scooter brakes. We don't have a court date until end of July, and our once peaceful home now feels like a war zone. Here's the story. My fiancé, 3-year-old child, and I moved into this place in July. It's a 100-year-old house divided into 4 units. We live on the 2nd floor. In August, a couple and their 2 teenage children moved in directly below us on the main floor. We sensed something was off with them from the moment we first saw them. But we actually ended up being friendly with each other, with no issues until one day in early December when everything changed. It started with a noise complaint to the landlord about us dragging furniture at night. This was fair. We had assembled a new dresser after putting our daughter to bed because it's impossible to do stuff like that with a toddler running around. What I found odd, though, was that they went directly to the landlord rather than mentioning it to us first. I figured she just doesn't like confrontation, which I understood. I wrote a sincere apology letter, included my phone number, and taped it to her dryer in the common area. Less than a week later, another complaint from the landlord about stomping, loud talking, laughing, furniture dragging. This time, we were very confused because we hadn't been doing anything out of the ordinary. My fiancé works night shifts, and we have a toddler who occasionally wakes in the night, so there is definitely activity at night. But nothing crazy. Normal stuff we had been doing since day one. Literally just living and existing. Regardless, we remained humble and apologetic and started actively making an effort to stay completely quiet as can be at night. We literally tiptoed to the bathroom at night. I wrote an email to her and sent it to my landlord for him to send to her. I said that she should take my number and text me when she was hearing these noises so we could get to the bottom of this. She sent me a distorted audio clip of the floor creaking. I asked if this was happening right now, and she said it was from the night before. I had family over for Christmas dinner and made everyone leave before 9 p.m. except my mom who stayed over. My fiancé brought some food over to our senior neighbor around 11 p.m. after hearing he was alone for the holidays. I woke up to a text from her at 12:18 a.m. complaining about noise when we were all sleeping by then. On Christmas, seriously? We tried to catch them to talk when they were going inside, but the woman ran into the house. Her boyfriend said that he was sleeping fine, but she was very mad because she thought we were making noise intentionally. Bizarre. She started banging on our ceiling at night too, when we were in bed making out. Super creepy. The complaints continued from there despite our efforts to be quiet. She stopped answering texts or communicating with us completely. Eventually, we had an in-person meeting with the landlords and the neighbors. We allowed the landlord to go up into our unit and walk around while his wife listened downstairs. The footsteps were loud because there's no sound insulation and they have very little furniture or anything in their unit to absorb sound. We tried to discuss, but the neighbors were pretty hard to reason with. They believed my fiancé was wearing steel toe boots and stomping around the house. He doesn't own steel toes, nor do we wear shoes indoors. They also claimed that they had lost their jobs and their kids had missed over 20 days of school, all because of us. We agreed to lay area rugs with under padding to remedy the loud footsteps. We also were prohibited from using our back exit, the fire escape stairs going from our balcony down to backyard, after 10 p.m. to avoid disturbing them. The landlord served both of us with an N5. Ours was prohibiting us from using the fire escape. Theirs was to stop emailing the landlord with complaints for 7 days or something like that. The day after the meeting, they had put a coat rack and shoe rack in the common area by the door. We had a similar coat rack by the door in our unit, and it took up valuable space, so I figured I would move it next to theirs by the door. If they could have stuff there, so could we. I made the dumb mistake of leaving my keys on a very sentimental lanyard in my jacket pocket and hanging my coat up there. My keys mysteriously disappeared. I'm not one to lose my keys. I had that same keychain for 7+ years. I believe we both broke the N5S. They ended up complaining of blaring music coming from our unit, which was at anti-anxiety relaxation frequency, on volume 5 in our living room. She went up to our door to record muffled audio that sounds like a very faint frequency and called our landlord at midnight about this. After getting the text from the landlord, I sent my fiancé downstairs to see if he could hear anything down there. When he opened the door, she was standing there. She yelled and sweared at us and ran away when we tried to talk to her. I had to use the fire escape after arriving home one night shortly after 10 p.m. because I can't unlock my front door. My friend had to drive me all the way to pick my fiancé's keys up from him, and when we got there, we couldn't get the door unlocked. The front door lock is super tricky. My fiancé can unlock it and apparently everyone else in the house, but my friend wasn't able to unlock it either. We both tried for like 20 minutes. I tried texting my neighbor to kindly unlock the door if she was still awake. But she ignored me. So I did what I had to do. Since discovering that I can't unlock it, every time I leave my house, she comes right after me and locks me out. Around this time, she called the city bylaw on us with noise complaints. Landlord had to pay for an investigation that obviously went nowhere because we hadn't broken any bylaws. The landlord continued receiving complaints almost daily about things like shoes intermingling with theirs in the common area. Our shoes went in a totally different spot. Loud screaming and crying. My little brother had just committed suicide. They seriously complained about hearing me weeping, and us banging on their door at 3 a.m. The smoke alarm that is connected between all units went off 3 times within the hour, waking our daughter and us up. We texted other tenants who said it wasn't from them. So we were checking to see if everything was okay. Those are just a few examples. Our landlord was already so tired of them at this point. He had been and is still receiving daily emails from them, but he has stopped bothering us with the complaints for some time now. I guess they weren't getting the results that they wanted out of their complaints to him and bylaw, so they decided to take things a step further. My fiancé and I were having a relaxing night. Our daughter was in bed by 9 p.m., and we cooked up some yummy shrimp around 10 p.m., ate our late-night snacky snack, and laid in bed in our jammies scrolling on our phones. Around 11 p.m., we were about to fall asleep when we heard a knock on our back door. It was the police. Of course, they told them specifically to use the fire escape and back door, then reported to the landlord that we used it. We didn't want our dogs to start barking and wake our child, so we told the police to meet us at the front door downstairs. The neighbors were there at the front looking like they were absolutely tweaking and hadn't slept in days. They were wearing hats and jeans. Clearly, they had not been in bed. The officer checked with me to make sure that I was okay. Apparently, they received a report of a domestic situation. The neighbors stood there and blatantly lied, saying that they were hearing banging, fighting, screaming, yelling, and crashing. The police were pissed that she had wasted their time, and they left. Now, they were moving our shoes in front of their door and taking pictures to try to say we were harassing them and intending to trip them, amongst other false accusations. Last month was when they absolutely crossed the line. They called child services on us, claiming that we use drugs, have loud parties at night, that we're ill-equipped and we scream at our child and each other constantly, and who knows what else. Of course, they told a worker to enter through our back door, instructing them to use our forbidden staircase. These claims are literally just made-up nonsense. Our child is very well taken care of. She has everything she could ever need or want. And we have never, not even once, screamed at her. She screams at us, if anything. She had been having a lot of tantrums, which is very typical for her age. But we use her emotions chart and talk through things calmly with her always. I could never scream at her, nor do we fight with each other. We had one argument in the 9 months of us living here, and it was because my fiancé knocked over a glass of water at the foot of the bed and cut his foot in the night, and I kept shushing him because I was worried about disturbing the neighbors. Our child was in bed already. They called the police, of course. But I digress. We are not perfect by any means, but our child is 1000% safe, loved, nurtured, healthy, and happy. My child is my world, and I was made to be a mom. The system in my city is completely overwhelmed already with children who actually need help. Now, resources and time that could have gone to a child in dire need have been wasted on a child that has never went without. That awful woman tried to have my child removed from what she knows damn well is a loving home and put her at risk of being ripped from her happy life, traumatized and taken into a random person's home who could potentially put her in harm's way or mistreat her. Just because she doesn't like us. That is sick and twisted. I would never stoop so low. We went through a short period where we were terrified that our kid would cry or tantrum, thinking she would record it and make it seem as if we were abusing her. It was starting to affect our parenting and affect our child and her rules and routines so badly. Thankfully, we solved that issue by putting cameras in the house, in case we need to prove any of her accusations are false. I thought all the other past behavior from this woman was bizarre, but forgivable. I'm a very chill, very understanding, and very forgiving person. I even still greeted them with a hey and a half smile when seeing them in the common areas. But to get my child involved is crossing the line, and I dislike her more than anyone I have ever met. Any efforts to appease this Pisco have now come to an end. We don't intentionally make noise or do anything to piss her off on purpose, but we aren't careful anymore. It's hard to respect someone who could do something like that. After harassing the landlord with staged photos for so long, as well as placing hidden spy cams without our consent, landlord eventually said that no one can keep any items in the common area, including them. This pissed her off, and she retaliated by starting to tamper with my laundry. Our machines are side by side in common area. She kept stopping the cycle halfway through and restarting it, or turning the machine off before the rinse and spin, so the clothes would be drenched. At 1 a.m. a few nights ago, I finally was able to finish a load of laundry I'd been trying to wash all day. I threw it in the dryer and I could hear her coming out and shutting it off. My fiancé went down there and told her stop touching our shit. She reported that he said, "Fuck you, bitch." She finally left the dryer on, and we left 4 brand new pairs of earplugs in front of her door with a note that said, "Earplugs, smiley face." Next morning, we discovered that she put a freaking candle in our dryer and ruined a bunch of our stuff. Landlord called the next day and explained that we were going to the LTB because they were claiming harassment for the night prior. He said he's on our side and will tell the court that they are in fact harassing us and him, but he needs this to go to court because he can't stand the constant harassment from them any longer. He also said that their emails to him were just full of absolutely slanderous allegations and accusations. He said that he has received 30+ emails from them this month alone. Just when I thought she couldn't get any crazier, things escalated even further the other day. My fiancé was doing DoorDash on his e-scooter, and he forgot his gloves upstairs. He left his e-scooter in the common area for literally, 3 minutes while he came up to grab his gloves and pee. When he left to go dash, he realized his brakes weren't working. By the grace of God, he wasn't hurt. He was able to stop himself, and he came home. The next morning, the landlord emailed us a picture of the scooter in the common area, saying that he's gotten a complaint and reminding us to refrain from leaving anything in the common area. That's when we noticed that the brake wire looked perfectly fine in the picture. She tampered with his brakes. Our home that once felt peaceful and safe now feels like a war zone. Any advice or support would be appreciated. Thanks. Okay, so this person moved into a 4-unit building. Sounds cute, right? Nope. Turns into a literal nightmare. Who does this? Anyway, new downstairs neighbors move in, and things seem okay-ish at first. False alarm. Then, BAM. Noise complaints start rolling in. For, existing? She gets noise complaints even when she's asleep. Banging on the ceiling? Are we living in a cartoon? Then it gets worse. Laundry tampering, false police reports, child services called with total BS claims. Who calls child services because their neighbors are stomping? Spy cams, staged harassment claims? It's giving Fatal Attraction, but make it petty. Oh, and the cherry on top? They tampered with her fiancé's e-scooter brakes. So, now they're stuck in this war zone until court. Who has the time to be this evil? Time to check out some reactions from fellow Redditors. If you can prove the brake line thing, that's your backup winning argument. Did you take it to a professional for repair and have receipts? Other than that, good luck in court. You aren't going to need luck or even divine intervention. Should be pretty cut and dry. See what I did there? Too soon? Although, depending on where you are. If you win with the LTB, not sure what that is. Do you then have grounds for a civil suit? As replacing your clothes and dryer won't have been cheap. We have the photo of the scooter she sent the landlord where it's intact and the photo of the damage the next day. Not sure if that counts as proof or not. Love the cut and dry joke. LTB is landlord and tenant board. We don't have money for a lawyer, nor do we really want to go through all that. Just want peace. We're planning on moving in July or August, which is sad because I love this house. There's even more coming to mind that I didn't mention, but I'm sure you get the idea. Sounds like a typical psycho neighbor, and I'm sorry you're having to deal with this. Good luck with court, and hopefully you guys can just move eventually if they aren't going to. They are the ones with a problem with noise and people just living their lives, which everyone has a right to. It's not like you're being loud intentionally. Messing with someone's brakes and calling CPS is evil. There is no line this psycho wouldn't cross from the sounds of it. Also, it's a house for God's sake. Of course, there is no soundproofing. They shouldn't have moved there, and especially downstairs if they weren't ready and willing to deal with noise. Yeah, we are sadly planning on moving in July or August, sad face and icker. The landlord also literally offered to have soundproof insulation installed in between our floors and their ceiling, and they said no. So clearly, they don't really want to solve the issue. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment with your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe for more stories and reactions.